Many of the evils today that we find in capitalist societies, the societies that are affluent, so to speak, people are looking at one another and they want to buy things that others have bought, and sometimes I cannot afford. The moment I begin to give importance to anything that is not God, I'm doing a kind of idolatry. I'm creating idols around myself. So idol is not necessarily an idol. It's not a worshipping of a, man-made, human-made, idol, but it is giving too much importance to things that are transient. Greed is natural to human beings. I want to possess. To be possessive is natural. Becoming wealthy is not bad. In fact, wealthy people are the trustees of God, according to Islam. God has given them so that they can spend for others. Spend for others is the key. God has given them so that they can engage in philanthropic activities. Not circulating your wealth, not giving it in the right places is your responsibility, and you are accountable for that. There's a fine line between ambition and greed. And ambition could drive an individual to the greater endeavors and efforts to reach that goal. If the goal is something noble, then it's not regarded as greed. But if the goal is simply connected with self-satisfaction and self-importance, then it becomes problematic. Again, one needs to look at it as a vice rather than as a sin. I think the modern society is too tolerant about the greed. And we know at this time we are going through the economic crisis. And many economists and those who have been very insightful in their analysis of the present situations are really naming greed as one of the factors of what we are faced with today in the housing industry, in the banking system. Everywhere people have been amassing wealth, and greediness has taken over our ability to look at the interests of the others with us. And this, loss of altruism in what we do has ended up into a disastrous situation today. Modern society is very much encouraging that kind of investment, which will double your, capital, which will make you rich and wealthy. If it goes, I think, without checks and balances, it could lead to disastrous situations, because it has not brought happiness. We know for sure that today human beings who are very wealthy, imagine if all the wealth cannot give me my health. And the health is not only my physical health, I also need my mental health. I also need my inner health. And if those are not restored, then what is the good of that wealth? And after all, I'm going to leave everything behind. The Prophet used to say that you are saving for others, not for yourself, because you will not take it with you. There's a beautiful saying in Persian that shrouds don't have pockets. You go, you are lowered in the grave, and you don't have anything to go into grave with you. You leave everything behind. So greed has its own limits. And if we don't recognize it, we are made to recognize by God at the end of, our life cycle. In Islam, gambling is connected to greed. It is connected with what we call chance game, which one should not engage in, because one could lose and could really harm others around oneself. In other words, here is a person who engages in gambling and might really lose the wealth which belongs to the entire family, for example. So there are dangers to it, and therefore the game of chances is forbidden in Islam. It was one of the grave sins, by the way. So when you do it, really no repentance can really expiate for its commission. One really needs to be careful not to engage in gambling. Any kind of chance playing is discouraged totally.